This is PIX on Politics Daily with Dan Mannarino.
Hi there, I'm Henry Rosoff, and welcome to this episode of PIX on Politics Daily. Well, it's a busy week. Voting is happening, early voting, mail-by voting, every type of voting you can imagine, and boy, are people voting, especially in the New York City race for mayor, where we've already smashed records for early voting from 4 years ago. Anecdotally, we're looking at slightly older New Yorkers voting this time around, and there's plenty of reading of the tea leaves about what that means. Across the river in New Jersey, Democratic nominee Mikey Sherrill was just out with a press release claiming that she's got nearly 200,000 Democrat-aligned mail-in votes, a quote-unquote firewall that's supposed to usher her into victory. We'll see what Jack Ciattarelli, the Republican, has to say about that. Of course, Republicans a little more focused on in-person day of voting. But enough about the logistics of voting. Let's talk about some of the issues, particularly education, which has tended to be a very important issue in these off-year elections, particularly in New Jersey and in Virginia. You could argue that Glenn Youngkin became governor in Virginia because of the education issue 4 years ago. So for more on this and what's happening in New Jersey and education policy, let's bring in Jessie Gómez with Chalkbeat, who's been all over this election cycle. Jessie, thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Dan.
It's Henry. I'm filling in for Dan. It's Dan's show for what it's worth. It's all good. Don't worry. His name's right at the top. You can't miss it. You give him all. Hold on. It's right there. There you go. It's all good. No, last minute fill in. So tell me a little bit about what the state of play is relative to the important education issues in this all important governor's race in New Jersey.
Yeah, definitely. It's education, like you said. It's a very hot topic this election, especially because we're still seeing academic recovery efforts in schools post-pandemic. Now, when it comes to student achievement and getting students ahead, Democrat Mikey Sherrill and Jack Ciattarelli have plans, but of course they differ very much on their approaches and how they will actually not only boost student achievement in schools, but also address some of the big topics in New Jersey, like cell phones in schools and also the expansion of charter schools.
So tell me about the cell phone difference, because that's often a hot topic. I know that we're about to move into next school year in New York, statewide actually, including New York City, where they will be banned, but they've left some flexibility about how schools can do that. What's Ciattarelli proposing? What's Sherrill proposing?
Yeah, so I think both of the candidates here, they agree that cell phones in classrooms should be limited. But again, their approaches are different. So Sherrill is pledging for a statewide ban, which comes off the heels of a recommendation from a commission, a state commission that says cell phones should be banned during instructional hours. She says that there should be no more of that in classrooms. But Ciattarelli says that, well, the power should be really given to school districts to talk with their parents and their educators to see how they should limit cell phones in the classroom. So not a statewide ban for him, but still imposing some sort of limitations depending on the school district.
And then the COVID catch-up. I mean, what you have right now, and my kids are just a little bit too young to be impacted by this, but I have plenty of friends who are. Really, there's a lot of issues around literacy right now in second, third, fourth grade, and then also social adjustment issues at the high school level. So COVID really, did frankly some damage to a generation of kids, educationally, I mean. How does each candidate plan on tackling and helping the children of New Jersey sort of get caught up and get back to a place where we were, say, 5-6 years ago?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, the pandemic really affected students' learning. We have seen the sort of, gains that students have made incrementally since the pandemic. To put things into perspective, Newark, which is New Jersey's largest school system, did just see an increase in state test scores in both math and reading, about 2 percentage points year over year, but they're still under 2019 levels. And that's a concern, really. So Ciattarelli is hoping to instill a high impact curriculum, which is basically a curriculum that's research-based and it's aligned with state standards, and basically just says that we're going to tackle very targeted, kind of interventions in math and reading. So it's not teaching the basics, but really looking at kind of refining those foundational skills in both of those subjects. So that's sort of his plan to really boost state test scores here. He's also saying that the state should get off the backs of high-performing school districts and really look at what's happening in low-performing school districts and how to work with those districts to boost student achievement. That concept contrast with what Cheryl is saying and proposing. She's proposing a high impact tutoring, which is basically, again, another research-based strategy that says, let's have kids in tutoring 3 times a week with the same tutor. That's supposed to be a proven method to help students, again, refine those really important skills in math and reading, but also sort of encourage that love of learning again. So again, 2 different approaches, but still looking at what's happening inside schools.
So as I understand it, Chitterelli, kind of pivoting now, has really moved to the national Republican talking points on transgender students, both as it pertains to bathrooms and sports. So if you could just reiterate his position, which is, I think, a fairly common position across Republican Party right now. And what is Cheryl saying about the rights that transgender students should have as it pertains to their schooling and to their extracurricular activities?
Yeah, definitely. So we really heard much from Chattarelli specifically about this point. And really he's saying that, well, when it comes to LGBTQ pronouns, well, those should be mandated by parents, and, students should, in schools especially, parents should have a say in what their, child's pronouns are. And so I think that's a very important point of discussion when it comes to schools and parents and school choice. Again, that's a more conservative aligned vision, and that really follows in suit with a lot of the Trump administration's policies, not only on LGBTQ issues, but also just in general about what powers parents should have in schools. Now, Cheryl's stance is a little more lenient on those issues, but she also is sort of keeping an eye on, making sure that, public schools and across the state are sort of not following in suit to a lot of those policies. And we've heard many times on the campaign trail that Cheryl is looking to push back on federal leaders, not only on this, but also on getting federal money back for schools as well.
Yeah, because Trump administration has made this an issue as it pertains to funding, and he claims that certain transgender policies in New Jersey under the Murphy administration have effectively been a civil rights violation. They're really zeroing in, I believe it's one line in sort of a guidance document that's been quite controversial in New Jersey that says the pronoun and name should be respected with or without parents' position. Cheryl has stopped short of embracing that doctrine completely, right? She said she wants to take a look at it for herself.
Right, exactly. And again, it's sort of this idea of pushing back on the federal leaders where she's really kind of taking her stance, not only on education, but also other issues across her platform.
So bottom line this for me, I understand you're immersed in this stuff. Chalkbeat, really across the region, I know does a great job covering educational issues. How much has education been talked about in the campaign trail? How much can a governor do? Has it been frustrating for you that education's getting breezed over? Have they been talking about it a lot? What are you feeling in just covering this race? Is it getting enough attention?
I think that at the local level, it is a big topic, especially in Newark. Again, New Jersey's largest school system, New Jersey's largest city. Folks in Newark are really, really invested in the public education and also just charter school and school choice in the city. We know that a third of students in Newark are in charter schools. There has been some sort of hesitation from the public school system in that city to see an expansion of charter schools. So again, at the local level, it is definitely a hot topic. I think across the state and on the campaign trail, we haven't heard enough from the candidates. We've heard sort of the broad stances, the sort of, Trump administration policies that Chattarelli might or might not instill, but we really haven't heard of, how all of these programs like high impact tutoring, which Cheryl is proposing, will be funded, or how Chattarelli's voucher program modeled after Florida might impact the state budget if he becomes governor this coming year. So again, it's sort of, when we talk about education on the campaign, we really need to know the specifics of it, the ins and outs, who's going to fund it, and how much is it going to cost taxpayers.
Well, and we all know that this is at the intersection of an issue that gets talked about a lot, which is school district taxes. And of course, that impacts the quality of education. But that's a discussion for another day and a different part of the campaign. Jessie Gómez with Chalkbeat, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks so much, Henry.
And that'll do it for this edition of Picks on Politics Daily. But I can tell you that this is a very busy campaign week from here. After recording this episode, I can tell you I'm going to go meet with Mr. Sliwa and Mr. Cuomo, and we already heard from Mr. Mamdani earlier today. So it's heating up there. Mikey Sherrill starting a bus chore. Jack Chitterelli, I think, sweeping across South Jersey today and be back North Jersey tomorrow, is campaigning with a lot of national Republican figures right now, including I saw Mike Lawler from the Hudson Valley in New York over there trying to help his compatriot in the GOP. So a busy couple of days. We'll see how it all shakes out on Election Day and perhaps a day or two after that as the counting continues with all those vote-by-mail ballots. We'll have you covered here at PIX 11 and right here on Picks on Politics Daily. But for now, I'm Henry Rosoff wishing you a good day. And remember, go out to vote. It's election season in the Garden State and in New York. Take care.